Prize winner is from New York City, and her name is Pavitra Vijaykumar.
So I just, again, also want to thank everyone who organizes and all the other Princeton Prize winners. We were all talking yesterday, and I'm just feeling so awe-inspired by all of you. So instead of trying to compete with you about all the cool things you guys have done, I thought I'd sort of explain the problem that I tried to address at my school, because it's sort of different, less explicit than a lot of other people's. So when I meet people from outside of New York City, I tell them I go to one of those Gossip Girl schools, which isn't entirely true. My school's a little bigger and is in the Bronx, not Manhattan. But 78 out of the 117 kids in my school do live within 4 subway stops of each other. And all these kids are white, and they're very similar in a lot of superficial ways. They've all been on the same soccer teams since 2nd grade, and they all eat at the same restaurants and buy the same clothes. And so our school, it's very close, but has very little diversity. I'm the only Indian student in my grade, and there are 2 other Asian students, 8 Latino students, 5 Black students, and then one of my best friends who's Native American, Dominican, Italian, everything. This isn't really our school's fault. They try really, really hard to get a lot of people in our school, but it's just the cost of the private school education, even past the financial cost, which is usually covered by scholarships and everything like that. It's just really high. Because our school is dominated by people who feel uncomfortable. We read Invisible Man last year, and everyone in the class felt really uncomfortable calling the character Black just because they were white and they didn't feel comfortable calling the character Black. And we read about Native Americans, and so every time they read the word Indian, they would look up at me feeling real uncomfortable. And they also just are sort of oblivious to how things like the DREAM Act and higher metric card prices and Obama's birth certificate affect the minority. So it's not really an atmosphere of ostracism or prejudice or even self-segregation or bullying the way a lot of schools are, but it's just sort of an atmosphere of awkwardness and tiptoeing and ignorance that's also very aggravating, especially because the race issue at a private school is really closely tied to financial issues. And I've been at the school for 14 years, and I still get questions like, "Are you a Hindi?" which is a language, not a religion or anything. So, and there are 2 Black girls in my grade, and they get confused for each other all the time, and they don't look anything alike, different heights, So my friends and I in high school started to notice these problems. We saw that there was an entire world of interpretations, opinions, and worldviews that just weren't being heard by the rest of the school. And we also saw that we, as the students of racial and geographic and financial religious minority, just felt out of place at school, and then also at the worlds that we chose to leave behind to go to this school. And so I wanted to address this problem of discomfort because I know that more than the financial and logistical obstacles of going to private school, it's really feeling out of place that makes it hard for children of minority to go to these private schools, to these prep schools, which are really great stepping stones into places like this, good jobs and everything like that. So we decided to start Impact, which is sort of a word of the day. A lot of people have used it. Emily has also started a thing called Impact. We published a lot of articles about race, and I wrote an article about how awkward it was that The Princess and the Frog was the first Disney movie with a Black character in it, and she spent most of the movie as a frog, not as a Black person. It's a little awkward. And we had articles about racism in Cuba, which most people usually, people think of Cubans as Cubans. They don't really think of racial issues within Cuba as a country. And one of my favorite articles was about the threat to cut student metro cards. And so one of my friends interviewed people from her neighborhood in Queens. And it really just sort of showed that, for us, student metro cards were just a perk that, was kind of nice to have. But for people, in her neighborhood, it sort of was a necessity that without, if they didn't have student metro cards, they wouldn't be able to go to school every day. So I think that our magazine did sort of just try to make people more comfortable talking about these things, and then just kind of make them more willing to break out of the little homogenous world and experience anything. So.